Imagine driving through the remote desert of Utah. For miles, there is almost nothing but dry land, distant mountains, and endless sky. Then, suddenly, you discover a tiny canyon filled with twisted pillars, strange arches, sharp pinnacles, and bizarre rock shapes. At first glance, it doesn't even look like Earth. It looks like a landscape from another planet. Welcome to Fantasy Canyon, Utah, one of America's strangest hidden geological wonders. And the most surprising part? This mysterious landscape wasn't built by humans. It was created by millions of years of wind, rain, rivers, and erosion. So, how did nature create a place this unusual? Let's find out. Where is this strange place? Fantasy Canyon is located in northeastern Utah, in the Uinta Basin, roughly 40 miles south of the town of Vernal. Unlike famous destinations such as the Grand Canyon or Zion National Park, Fantasy Canyon is incredibly small. The main geological area covers only a few acres, and visitors can explore it using a short trail. But don't let its size fool you. Inside this tiny landscape is an incredible collection of unusual sandstone formations. The Bureau of Land Management manages the site, and visitors can explore the area throughout the year. There is no entrance fee, and the area is designated for day use. But getting there can feel like an adventure itself. Some of the roads leading to Fantasy Canyon are unpaved, and they can become extremely slick or even impassable after rain. That's one reason this strange place has remained relatively unknown compared with Utah's famous national parks. Why does it look like another planet? The first thing you'll notice is the rocks. They don't look like normal canyon walls. Instead, you'll see thin pillars, twisted shapes, arches, knobs, and strange formations that almost look like sculptures. Some formations have even been given imaginative names based on what people think they resemble. There are formations known as the alien head, flying witch, gargoyle, dinosaur backbone, prowling coyote, and diving duck. And when you walk between these formations, your imagination starts doing the rest. One rock may look like an animal, another may look like a creature from a science fiction movie, and another may look like something that shouldn't exist in nature at all. This is actually how Fantasy Canyon got its name. The Bureau of Land Management says the unusual structures reminded visitors of fantasy stories and science fiction. But there's nothing supernatural happening here. The real explanation is even more fascinating. A landscape millions of years in the making. To understand Fantasy Canyon, we have to travel back in time. Way back. The rocks here formed during the Eocene epoch, roughly 55 to 34 million years ago. At that time, the landscape looked completely different. The region was near the edge of a huge ancient lake known as Lake Uinta. Rivers flowing toward this lake carried sand, silt, and clay from nearby mountains. Over enormous periods of time, these sediments were buried and eventually became layers of rock. Some of those layers became sandstone. Others became softer mudstone and claystone. And this difference would eventually create Fantasy Canyon, nature's incredible sculptor. Here's where things get really interesting. Not all rocks erode at the same speed. The mudstone and claystone surrounding the sandstone were much easier for wind and water to remove. So, over millions of years, erosion slowly stripped away the softer material. The harder sandstone remained standing, but it wasn't simply left untouched. Wind and water continued carving it. Little by little, they cut channels, grooves, holes, arches, pillars, and bizarre shapes into the rock. The result is what we see today. A miniature geological sculpture garden. The Utah Geological Survey describes Fantasy Canyon as a unique expression of rock weathering and erosion. And when you look closely at the formations, it's easy to understand why. The rocks almost appear melted. Some look twisted. Some are full of holes. Others stand like thin stone towers. It is almost as if someone took wet clay, twisted it into strange shapes, and then froze it in place. But these formations were created entirely by nature, one of the most fragile landscapes in Utah. There's another incredible fact about Fantasy Canyon. The sandstone may look strong, but it is actually extremely fragile. According to the Utah Geological Survey, the sandstone is fine-grained, porous, soft, poorly cemented, brittle, and crumbly. That means even touching some of the formations can cause tiny grains of sand to break away. And there is a powerful reminder of just how fragile this place is. One of Fantasy Canyon's most famous formations was called Teapot. It was one of the area's most recognizable and photographed formations. But in September 2006, Teapot suddenly toppled from its base and shattered on the canyon floor. The exact cause of its collapse remains unknown. It was a reminder that landscapes like Fantasy Canyon are not permanent. The same forces that created these strange formations are also slowly destroying them. More than 20 natural sculptures. One of the coolest things about Fantasy Canyon is that visitors can find numerous named rock formations throughout the small area. The Utah Geological Survey has documented more than 20 named sculptures. Some names are straightforward. Others require a little imagination. And that's part of the fun. As you walk through the canyon, you can look at a formation and ask yourself, what does that look like? A creature? A person? An alien? A dinosaur? Or maybe something completely different? That's why Fantasy Canyon feels less like a traditional canyon and more like a natural art gallery. Except there is no artist. There is no museum. And there are no special effects. The artist is erosion. Why doesn't everyone know about it? Utah is famous for incredible landscapes. Zion, Bryce Canyon, Arches, Canyonlands, Capitol Reef. Millions of people visit these destinations. But Fantasy Canyon sits far away from many of Utah's most famous tourist routes. Its small size also means it doesn't have the massive scale of places like the Grand Canyon. And because some access roads travel through remote areas and oil field service roads, reaching the canyon requires more planning. That isolation is actually part of its charm. You don't need a giant national park to experience something extraordinary. Sometimes, one tiny patch of desert can contain an entire world of strange geology. The desert is still changing. Here's something that makes Fantasy Canyon even more fascinating. The landscape you see today is not the final version. Erosion never stops. Rain continues to wash across the rocks. Wind continues to move sand. Temperature changes slowly weaken the stone. Over time, some formations will collapse. Others will become smaller. And new shapes may eventually appear as more material is exposed. So Fantasy Canyon is essentially a landscape in motion, just moving far too slowly for humans to notice. What looks permanent to us is actually temporary on a geological timescale. A real-life alien landscape. And maybe that's what makes Fantasy Canyon so fascinating. It doesn't need CGI. It doesn't need special effects. It doesn't need a Hollywood movie. Millions of years of geology have already created something that looks like science fiction. Standing among these strange sandstone formations, you can easily imagine yourself on Mars, or on an alien world, or inside the landscape of a futuristic movie. But this isn't another planet. It's right here in the United States, in the remote desert of Utah. And that's the real mystery of Fantasy Canyon. Nature doesn't always create giant mountains or enormous canyons to impress us. Sometimes it creates something incredibly small and incredibly strange. A place where rocks look alive, where erosion becomes art, and where a few acres of Utah desert can make Earth itself look alien. So the next time you think you've seen every kind of landscape America has to offer, remember Fantasy Canyon, because hidden in the Utah desert is a place that proves one simple fact. Our planet can look far stranger than fiction. And perhaps the most amazing part is that this alien-looking landscape is still being shaped today, one grain of sand at a time. If you enjoyed this journey into one of America's strangest hidden places, don't forget to subscribe to UltraFacts USA for more incredible facts, mysteries, and hidden wonders.